I used to think you could sense the exact moment love ends, that it would crash into your world like a thunderclap, sharp and undeniable. But the truth is, love doesn't always die so dramatically. Sometimes it fades in silence, slipping away piece by piece until one day a single glance, a touch, or a fleeting instant tells you it's over. For me, that instant came on our anniversary, the night I saw her dancing with another man. We had just reached a decade together. 10 years of marriage, of memories both good and flawed, of mistakes patched over with small wins that kept us moving forward. Life was never perfect. We had our share of missed dinners, hushed arguments, tired apologies, but I believed we had built something solid. At least, that's what I thought. So when I arranged a weekend at the same resort where I had proposed, it wasn't just a trip down memory lane. It was hope. A chance to rekindle what time had dulled. That first evening, the place came alive. A jazz band played beneath string lights, couples swayed under the open sky, glasses clinked, laughter carried through the air. I asked her to dance. She smiled faintly, said her heels were killing her, and chose to sit down. I let it go, fetched us both drinks, and returned, only to freeze in place. She was out on the floor. Not with me, but with a man I didn't know. He looked older, self-assured, his hands steady on her waist. She was laughing, truly laughing, in a way I hadn't seen for months. Her body moved lightly, her eyes glowed, and she never once glanced my way. I stood there holding her drink, feeling something inside me fracture beyond words. I didn't confront her. I didn't shout or accuse. I simply shut down. When we went back to the room, I muttered something about a headache. She didn't ask questions. We lay in bed with a wall of silence between us. By dawn, I was gone. I left a note that read, "I can't do this anymore." That was the end. The divorce followed quietly, papers signed, friends asking questions I never fully answered. I said vague things, we drifted, it stopped working. I never mentioned that night, that dance, the way something inside me shattered. I moved to another city, started fresh with a new job, a new apartment, a new routine. I even tried dating again, convincing myself that walking away had been strength. But every night, I still saw her under those lights, laughing, untouchable. 2 years slipped by. Then, out of nowhere, an email, "Can we talk?" I stared at it for hours before replying. Maybe it was unfinished business, maybe simple curiosity, or maybe the part of me that had never truly let her go. We met at a small cafe halfway between us. She looked older, wearier, but still painfully familiar. We exchanged small talk. Then she said, without warning, "I know why you left." I just never had the courage to explain. I froze. She took out her phone, pulled up a picture, and showed me the man from that night. My chest caved in. "That's my oncologist," she whispered. He happened to be at the resort. I had just finished treatment, and that night I found out I was in remission. My heart stopped. She explained everything, how she'd been diagnosed months before our anniversary, how she hid it because we were already distant, because she didn't want me to see her as weak or sick. While I thought she was working late, she was undergoing treatments. She wanted to shield me from the fear, the pity. That man wasn't a lover. He was the doctor who saved her life. The dance wasn't betrayal, it was celebration. That night, she had just learned she would live. I sat there numb. 2 years of anger and bitterness collapsed into a single breath. I had left her when she needed me most. I never asked, never checked, never gave her the chance to explain. I had filled the silence with my own insecurities and built a story that wasn't true. "I never blamed you," she said softly. I knew how it looked. But I had to live with the pain of the illness, and the pain of losing you. There was no resentment in her voice, only quiet sorrow that mirrored my own. We didn't hug. We didn't cry. We just sat, letting the truth wash over us. When she finally stood, she paused and said, "I'm okay now. I just wanted you to know." Then she walked away. That night, I sat alone in my apartment replaying everything I thought I knew, about that moment, about her, about us. And I realized how quickly love can crumble into doubt, how silence becomes dangerous when you fill it with fear instead of trust. I had loved her. A part of me always would. But I let one scene, one misunderstanding, define an entire lifetime. That will haunt me forever. So if you're hearing this now, if you're in a relationship where trust feels fragile, where silence grows heavy, ask before you assume. Listen before you judge. Because the truth is rarely what it first appears to be. Sometimes the real betrayal isn't what they did, but what we refuse to understand. And sometimes, in our blindness, we walk away from the very person who was fighting hardest to stay.